That was really weird, wasn't it? Great win for Max Verstappen. Very good day for Red Bull. Obviously, Red Bull Hondas 1 and 4. Good to see Max winning the Monaco Grand Prix. Deserved it. Did the perfect job all day from where he was on the grid, semi-pole. Thoughts are, I was talking to Alan Prost in the morning, and he said he just bumped into Charles. So the big question was, I said, did you ask him why he went off? He said, no. I said to him, is the Ferrari better here because it's a better car, or because it's just more suited to Monaco? In other words, does Monaco nullify some of its problems? And he said, oh, it's the latter, definitely. It's just the circuit's good for Monaco, which is fine. But then I said, so how was he? He said, oh, he's totally up. No indication at all that there was going to be a problem with the car. Everything was going to be fine. So it's kind of odd, isn't it, that when it came down to it, the car obviously had a gearbox problem. The interesting thing about that, for me, is that he presumably had a new gearbox on Thursday after that issue with fourth gear. And I suspect, I may be wrong, but I suspect that if they were flipping a coin as to whether or not they should replace the gearbox and take the penalty, or whether they should go for it, the fact that it was a brand new gearbox probably might have been in their minds. Let's go for it, and maybe that's what happened. I have to say, I think Charles acted incredibly well. I know drivers who, in that situation, would have been, unbelievably distraught, and probably would have left the circuit immediately. But not only was he cool and calm enough to go and do all the pre-race stuff and have to live there, not being on the pole, and go through all the anthems before the race, but then he took the trouble to be around at the end of the race to cheer Carlos home. And I thought that was really good. I think there are people out there that think that maybe Carlos could have been on the pole. I don't buy that. And as I said yesterday, I think Max might have, but I'm not even convinced that he would have done that. But anyway, that's only my opinion. And that's, I guess that's what we're all entitled to have. But I think, so that was that. That was really weird. And then beyond weird was the Valtteri Bottas thing. On a day when he's obviously going to have a better race result than Lewis, what would you expect to happen? P2, maybe fighting for a win. These tyres were starting to go away, so I think it would have been an interesting race between him and Carlos, wouldn't it? But then to have a right front wheel nut jam, sort of seized solid, they couldn't even get the thing off, and that is the retirement with the 1,000 people that work there, the engine, the aerodynamic, everything that goes into running a Grand Prix car, and it's something as banal as that. It's a reminder, I guess, I suppose this weekend has been a reminder that it is all about just human beings making human mistakes, and some of them react well, some don't. I think Valtteri, I don't know, to see how he reacted, he's probably very annoyed, but he probably reacted quite well because that's the sort of guy he is. Charles' reaction was very good. And people making funny mistakes and errors, but that's, despite all the technology, all these errors creep in, and it's quite refreshing in a way, I think, that happens. And that's what this Monaco Grand Prix, I think, will be remembered for more than anything else. But obviously, I don't want to detract from Max's win. He didn't make a great start, so he very quickly got to the inside, defended, and got that run up the hill, and that was fine. And then after the pit stop, he was very kind to his tyres, and that was very telling, I thought, of a very mature Max Verstappen. He allowed Carlos to get quite close to him, but no more than 3 seconds. And then, of course, in the later phase of the race, he seemed to have more grip, and he got away from Carlos, and he had a bit of margin everywhere. And I thought that was very impressive. So, lovely drive from Max. Great drive from Carlos. As I said yesterday, he looked to be able to get into this groove even from Thursday, and he just put in that incredibly consistent race performance, lap after lap after lap, and very, very impressive, I thought. Lovely to watch. And I didn't see him make a single mistake all day. I thought he just drove an exceptional race, and so full marks to him. And there would have been a bit of pressure, I guess, after, and not pressure. I think in reality, this was a big moment for Carlos. We've seen it before. When your teammate has a problem at Monaco, it's actually gives you momentum to do an even better job, and he did that. He came out of that really well, and this won't have done him any harm at all in terms of his self-confidence and his standing at Ferrari either. That's a really good result for him. I don't think he could have. What would have happened if Charles had got the lead and Max had been behind him? It would have been a really good race, wouldn't it? It might have been a bit like some of the other mini races and duels we saw through the field, particularly obviously Esteban Ocon and Antonio Giovinazzi, and of course Pierre Gasly and Lewis. Just impossible to overtake. And it might have been that situation with Charles and Max. So very good drives there. I don't know. For me though, Lando Norris's performance was absolutely outstanding. If I was going to vote driver of the day, I probably would have given it to Lando. I think he drove beautifully. To beat Daniel Ricciardo the way he did, to lap Daniel Ricciardo, and to remember to say thank you. He just gets better and better, and I couldn't be happier for him. It's very easy to. I think Lando is driving so well at the moment. He's putting in so many good drives. It's almost the point where some people are taking it for granted, I think, but certainly not I. I think he was just superb. Yeah, a few curbs and a few running wides here and things like that, but so what? The guy is really, really good. And as I say, if you compare him to George, they're both incredibly talented, both incredibly fast, both quite capable of winning Grand Prix right now in race-winning cars. But the one thing Lando has is a slightly softer edge than George, and that is such a good thing, such a powerful thing to have, I believe, in terms of getting better and better all the time. He's less reflexy than most of the drivers out there. And as for Daniel, just thinking about Daniel, he was at Red Bull when Max was starting to really get momentum. He left because he didn't think he was getting the right treatment. He didn't want to be in the team in that position. He went to Renault for a lot of money, which was kind of a weird thing to do at that stage of his career, because you don't leave a great race team just for money. But anyway, he did, and the team still wanted him, of course. Red Bull still wanted him, but he did. And that was a good period for him financially, and probably in his confidence of being a human being, Daniel Ricciardo. But was he learning anything at that point? Probably not. And then he came to McLaren thinking, well, it's young Lando Norris, I'm Daniel Ricciardo. I don't mean this in any way antagonistically. I love Daniel, he's a great guy, but I'm just trying to do a chronology of what's going on here. And what's going on is what I said at the start of the year. At the minute he joined McLaren, it was always going to be difficult for him with a guy like Lando, because Lando is very, very good. He'd out-qualified Sainz both years, and he had everything to learn from Daniel, whereas Daniel would have arrived thinking, I've got nothing to learn from young Lando Norris, and that's what's happened. Lando's got better as a result of Daniel being there. Probably a few things Daniel does with setup or the way he runs the car or his life or whatever. Whereas a guy like Daniel who's won Grand Prix, and he is Daniel Ricciardo, is he going to learn much from a Lando Norris? Of course he's not. So that's what's going on there, and it's now come back to bite big time, and to the point where he's absolutely thrashing him, and it's staggering to watch, really. Sergio Perez, good drive, went round and round, tried hard, put pressure on Lando, couldn't do it, as you wouldn't at Monaco, but nonetheless drove pretty well, didn't qualify well, and he will say it was the Charles thing. Everyone in the future will say, oh yeah, the Leclerc accident, would have been on the pole, no problem. Anyway, he did all right, and he did 1-4 for Red Bull. And Sebastian Vettel, very good drive from Sebastian, excellent. Both Aston Martins in the points in the end. Lance Stroll went over a few curbs. He's one of the few guys that uses that trap at the end of the swimming pool, the slow bit of the swimming pool where Nicholas Latifi went off, and of course where Charles went off. Charles didn't have any control of the car once he'd hit the guardrail, I've got to say, but in Lance's case, he shows how you can actually go over those curbs. As long as you get the car straight enough, you can do it. So he did that a few times. All that rally crossing he's been doing in Canada at home have probably been paying off, doing all that. So he did well. Sebastian did well. Very good. I'm pleased for all the boys at, let's call them Force India / Racing Point. All the good old boys who did a great job all those years. Obviously getting together at a time when it's difficult and getting a good result at Monaco. Both cars in the top 10. Excellent. Pierre Gasly, fabulous, wasn't he? Wasn't he fabulous under pressure from Lewis? No way in the world Lewis is going to find a way past Pierre Gasly, who drove incredibly well too in the Alfa Tauri. And then finally, I don't know. I'd split it between Lando and Antonio Giovinazzi. I'm becoming a bit of an Antonio fan, as you can probably gather. But I think he drove out of his skin. That car had no right to be that high up, ahead of a Daniel Ricciardo for Pete's sake, or even a Fernando Alonso for that sake, for that in that case. But I think he was just brilliant and excellent drive in that Alfa. And it's amazing how closely he could run to Ocon without running into any problems with temperatures, which was very impressive. Again, couldn't get past him, but excellent, good to see. So yeah, wow, Monaco Grand Prix, and it's been interesting in a number of ways. The main thing is the showcase up at Casino Square, which is always, what is my next car going to be? Yeah, right. But seeing what they all have outside, it's interesting to see how many of them are still gas guzzling, normally aspirated big supercars and Mercs and all that stuff, and not lots of Teslas, for example. And I think I've seen one Tesla here, and it was a taxi. Anyway, that's apropos nothing at all. Yeah, that's been good fun, and it's great that Monaco got it together again to have the Grand Prix. And congratulations to Max. Brilliant. He's won the Monaco Grand Prix. It's quite a cool thing, isn't it? Anyway, this is the noise at the harbour when he was doing his slowdown lap. All the boats get together and do their thing. See you soon.